Hello, good day everyone. Nandito na naman ako para sa panibago nating topic dito sa subject na Philippine Politics and Governance para po ito sa mga HUMSS students under academic strand. Ang Philippine Politics and Governance, ito po ay academic subject ng mga HUMSS or specialized subject ng mga senior high school students na kumukuha ng HUMSS strand. Okay? So, simulan na natin ang ating talakayan. Ngayon, i-discuss ko naman sa inyo ang judicial branch. Judicial branch, this is the third branch under the branches of government. Okay? Kasi there are three branches of government, the the executive, the legislative, and now the judicial branch. So before we start, uh, let me present to you the uh, le- most essential learning competency of this subject. Analyze the roles and responsibilities of the Philippine judiciary. And here are the following objectives of today's lesson. One, identify the roles and responsibilities of the Philippine judiciary. Two, discuss how the judiciary exercises neutrality and fairness. And evaluate the performance of the Philippine judiciary as a dispenser of justice and a protector of constitutional safeguards to freedom. But again, before we proceed to our discussion, let's have a short review. And yung review natin will be in a form of a short quiz. Tingnan natin kung talagang natatandaan nyo pa yung una nating lesson about um, the legislative branch of government. So again, isulat ang inyong sagot sa inyong answer sheet. This is an identification part. Let's see if you can still remember our past lesson on legislative branch of government. Number one, I want a complete name. Kahit walang middle name or middle initial. Number two, number three, four, and five. Okay, let us check if you can still remember your past lesson. Now, I want you to check your own paper, and here are the following answers. Number one, Miriam Defensor Santiago. Number two, 25 years old. Three, budgetary power. Four, joint resolution. And last, bill. Okay? So now if your score is three and higher than three, then congratulations, you passed the review quiz. And if your score is two and one, I'm sorry, you have to review more on legislative branch of government. Okay? So now let's proceed. Uh, just like what I have said a while ago, the third branch of government is the judicial branch. The judiciary is made up of the courts, like Supreme Court, Circuit, the magistrate, the local and municipal or the city courts. The judicial branch interprets the laws. Okay? They interpret the laws. Okay? So, number two, The role of the court system is to decide cases, including the determination of the relevant facts, then the determination of the relevant law, and the application of the relevant facts to the relevant law. Okay? So, under Section 1 of Article 8 in the judiciary government, the judicial power shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such lower courts as may be established by law. Okay? The judicial power includes the duty of the courts of justice to settle actual controversies involving rights which are legally demandable and enforceable, and to determine whether or not there has been a grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction on the part of the branch or instrumentality of government. So now, allow me to present to you the duties of the judicial branch. And number one, just like what I have said a while ago, they interpret the laws, they settle legal disputes, they punish violators of the law, hearing civil cases, they protect individual rights granted by the state constitution, determining the guilt or innocence of those accused of violating the criminal laws of the state, acting as a check upon the legislative and executive branches of the state government. Um, if you have remembered our past lesson, one of the power of each government, one of the powers of the government is the check and balance. So each branch of government can actually do the check and balance. So that's why it's number seven. So the the Supreme Court. Okay. By the way, let me tell you again that the job of the judicial branch is to oversee the whole Philippine court system, like the Supreme Court as the head of the judicial branch, and it decide whether the issue brought forth is constitutional or not. Okay, the Supreme Court is the higher court. So now let's talk about the Supreme Court. In pursuant to the provisions of the 1987 Constitution, the Supreme Court is composed of a justice, a chief justice, and the 14 associate justices who served until the age of 70. Meaning to say, the retirement of the justices and the chief justice of the Philippines should be at the age of 70 years old. The Chief Justice and the Associate Justices are appointed by the President of the Philippines, chosen from a short list submitted by the Judicial and Bar Council. The President must fill up a vacancy within 90 days of occurrence. Ibig sabihin dito, let's say may bakante sa isa sa mga 14, let's say kung ano man ang dahilan na nawala yung number 4, yung isa doon, from the day of occurrence, it should be 90 days, kailangan within 90 days, ma-fill up na yung bakanting posisyon. And kailangan ng presidente ang desisyon doon. According to 1987 Constitution, in Article 8, Section 5, the Supreme Court exercises the following powers. So ano-anong mga powers na yon? They exercise jurisdiction over cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, and other petitions for certiorari, prohibition, mandamus quo warranto, and habeas corpus. They review, they revise, reverse, modify, or affirm on appeal or certiorari as the law or the rules of the court may provide, and the final judgment and orders of the lower courts in all cases in which the constitutionality or validity of any treaty, international or executive agreement, law, presidential decree, the proclamation, order, instruction, ordinance, or regulation is in question. And all cases involving the legality of any tax, imposed assessment or tool, or any penalty imposed in relation thereto. So, all cases in which the jurisdiction of any lower courts is in issue. All criminal cases in which the penalty imposed is reclusion perpetua or higher. Perpetua or higher. All cases in which only an error or question of law is involved. Assign temporary judges of lower courts to other stations as public interest may require. Such temporary assignments shall not exceed 6 months without the consent of the judge concerned. Let's say wala talagang judge doon sa lugar na yon, the Supreme Court may assign temporarily a judge there, pero dapat it will not exceed in 6 months. Okay? So kailangan pa rin may approval ng judge concerned. The order a change of venue or place of trial to avoid a miscarriage of justice. So it's the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's duty. Promulgate rules concerning the protection and enforcement of constitutional rights, pleading, practice, and procedure in all courts, the admission to the practice of law, the integrated bar, the legal assistance to the underprivileged. And also appoint all officials and employees of the judiciary in accordance with the civil service law. So yun ang mga gawain or duties and responsibilities of the Supreme Courts or court. So how about the Court of Appeals? It reviews the record made in the trial court. The appeals court decides whether to affirm or to reverse the trial court's decision based upon the written brief. Let's say mayroong mga umapila, so hindi nagustuhan ang judgment sa lower court. So the Court of Appeals may review the record and then ito ba ay granted for a higher court or not. Okay? The Court of Appeals' principal mandate is to exercise appellate jurisdiction on all cases not falling within the original and exclusive jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Its decisions are final except when appealed to the Supreme Court on questions of law. So these are the rules and duties of the Supreme and the Court of Appeals, the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals. Okay? So now if you have questions, you may message me on Facebook, dear students, or during our class discussion or review lesson of this topic, you can ask questions on me. Okay. All right. So now, before we end this discussion, allow me to present to you the enrichment activity wherein you are going to answer this on a sheet of paper, and you can submit it via messenger. Okay. So una, the question is, as a senior high school student, how can you show that you value the virtue of justice in your day-to-day life? Day-to-day life. Sorry, it's a typo error. It should be not today, but today life. So you can cite at least 2 to 3 examples. And number two, in your opinion, what changes in the legal system must be initiated to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of our judicial system? So if you see anything like lapses, that's fine. Or if you see anything that there should be an improvement, or there must have been to improve in the system, then go ahead. Okay. Now, I would tell you, if you cannot express that in English, you can actually answer these two questions in Tagalog. Okay, that's fine with me, as long as you will not deviate, or yeah, deviate with the question. Or should I say, yung sagot ninyo ay hindi, uh, basta itumpak ninyo yung sagot na sa sitwasyon na hinihingi ko. Okay? So, if you have questions again, do not forget to message me on Facebook. So, that would be all. Thank you so much for listening and watching this video lesson on Philippine politics and governance, uh, with the topic on judicial branch of government. Okay? Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.